Hey everyone. Okay, so kind of a long-awaited video of sorts, because I had this topic in my poll that I had put up on my community page of my channel a while ago, and just getting around to it now because I covered some of the other votes or topics that were voted on that had higher voter ratings. Today we're going to go over what I generally have in my long-range and long-term sustainment ruck. This is the Tasmanian Tiger long-range and reconnaissance patrol ruck, the LRRP Mark III that I've done a full overview video on. Be sure you go check that out. I will link it in the description for the general stuff involved with just the features of the pack and things like that. Quality overall, excellent pack, one of the best in the game as far as that goes. It does have an internal frame. So this is a long-range, long-term sustainment pack. Okay, a couple of things before we start. On the community tab, Q&A thread is up right now for a couple of more days, so if you have questions, go over there to that thread. There's going to be a meme as an image with it. Leave a comment with some question or some questions, and I will answer them in the next Q&A video. Aside from that, when it comes to this topic for a long-range ruck and long-term sustainment, again, there are factors you need to take into consideration and put into play. Right now, my ruck is in a transitional loadout period, okay? It is still cold here. We're still getting snow on and off just until like a week ago. It's about 40 degrees out today and rainy, so guess what? Stuff is going to get wet, and you need to have cold weather gear as well as wet weather gear. You know, that kind of stuff. So factors for your environment, having preparations in place, and sustainment for inclement weather when you're going to be out in the field for long periods of time. Okay, one of those things to again keep into consideration and always factor for your operations and your activities, whether you're going out doing a long hike, a long ruck, camping, or training, or whatever else. Okay, other systemic situational things. Watch my pace plan video series on general route planning and understanding the variety of situations and nomenclature when it comes to planning routes for escape, emergency planning, namely, among a few other things. Okay, so and there's a couple of other videos in there to include some navigation videos from Stokermatic and some other people. Another thing, again, this is a long-term sustainment pack. Okay, if you're looking for something more in the context of a shorter term assault pack or day pack type loadout, there's a couple of good videos out there, as well as my brother, Asymmetrical Athlete. He has a video on basically the general loadout we would have, the setup we would have for a pack that we would take with us for daily operational stuff in contracting. Okay, there's a lot of good information there, and a lot of that focus is going to be, batteries, first aid stuff, other exigent stuff, ammunition, things like that. Okay, but go watch that video too. I'll link that in the description as well, okay, for a shorter term kind of day pack kind of thing, sustainment and stuff. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you everything I have in this pack as of right now. Again, transitional period, so some stuff is being taken out and replaced with other stuff for the seasons as needed, new equipment, other things like that. Okay, we'll start with the outside of it first. So I do have some pouches. These are these two pouches here are secondary pouches that are mollied on. These are Blackhawk, the Blackhawk upright GP pouches, general purpose pouches, and medical pouch is right on top. Okay, right on top, and that's packed full of wound packing stuff, Israeli bandages, cravats, things like that, okay? So just getting that out of the way. Medical stuff, you already know what's going to be in there. This stuff, I'll show you what I have packed in here in a second. On the rest of the outside, flipping this down real quick. So this is my cold and wet weather sleep system still on here. Again, it packs down smaller than a 3-piece military sleep system, but it's still big enough where it's taking up enough space on the inside where I have it lashed on the outside with 550 and bungees, okay? Always have some extra bungees with you, all right? So that's on the outside for now. Again, transitional period is going to start warming up, so I'll be switching over to the smaller sleep system with the bivy bag, just my patrol bag and a bivy bag, and that will pack inside the bag, much more compact without taking up a lot of space. On the bottom side, again, this is more European Bergen style ruck. On the bottom side is my sleep pad, the USMC accordion fold style ground pad. Okay, it doesn't come off, so I've used it. It's been lashed on there for a while, and I do rucking and hiking, and it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so that's kind of how that's set up. You can see it kind of underneath there, ground pad. Sleep system's lashed on the outside for now. Again, transitional period. It's going to be warming up, so that's going to get switched over. We'll go on the outside pouches now here, and then move our way inside to the bigger stuff. So on the outside, on this side here, binos. Have a pair of binos or something with you. Other additional things, I got some tent stakes for my SJK satellite tarp shelter, which is in the inside main compartment. In this small pouch here, I have some camo face paint and a additional fire starting and signaling device in the form of a compact plastic magnifying glass. Okay, I've done a video on that before. Make sure you go check that out as well, okay? Okay. Bringing to the other side. All right, on the other side, these are the integral side pouches on the outside of the pack, not secondary pouches. On this side, Sawyer filter system, Sawyer water filter system. I have a spare steel canteen cup in there, extra chem lights and illumination, and batteries. I also have another secondary fighter starter, being a ferro rod and striker inside this pouch as well. Decentralizing your emergency survival components to different parts of the pack is actually really important, and that's something you need to take into consideration, okay? So I've got a fire starter and signaler in this side. I have one on the other side, a different kind. I've got my batteries, and notice they're all in plastic bags for waterproofing. I've got a bunch of batteries in there, the Sawyer filter, and some extra chem lights for, again, signaling and for use inside of your shelter, because those are yellow light chem lights. You don't really want to be using them out in the open at night if that's the kind of thing operationally that you have to worry about right now. Okay, so on the two outside pouches here, on this side we have another canteen cup. I actually have to put this one on my chest rig, so it's good I got that open. Take that out. Espit stove, fuel tabs, okay, emergency flask for water or, you know, a little bit of hooch. I also have an eating utensil in here, okay, the one of the long Cedo Summit titanium ones. Great little eating tool. So that's what I have in that one. I gotta set that canteen cup aside because I need to put that on my chest rig for my canteen. Also, again, on the sides of the Tasmanian Tiger here, there are pockets here for canteens. So a canteen would go in on each side. And then I have another canteen on my chest rig And then I would carry an extra one on the inside here. I don't keep water stored in here. You don't want water just sitting around going stagnant. So with water, that's one of those things that you have to prep, you know, the day and the minutes before you head out. You know, you're going to be filling your canteens, getting them loaded into your bag, in the, like, canteens in these pouches, and then spare water on the inside in the cargo compartment, and then, you know, getting that all set up and ready to go. Again, you don't want water just sitting around being stagnant. It's not good. This side. On the inside, tinder fire starting pack, more chem lights, extra tent stakes because I have my satellite tarp shelter system, but I also have a poncho that I can use as a secondary shelter or covering or whatever. So extra stakes, other things, chapstick, some other odds and ends, emergency Mylar blanket, things like that are on this side. Extra waterproof bag for holding water or whatever. Okay. I also have a secondary French Foreign Legion eating tool in here. So a secondary set of eating utensils that are in this pouch, separate from this one. I've got an eating utensil in there and one in there. Okay. Okay. So medical pouch. You already know what's going to be in the medical pouch. It's medical stuff. Bandages, packing bandages. I got some other like boo-boo stuff in there, burn stuff, things like that. This secondary top pouch here, apart from the inside pouch of the flap of the pack. Extra bungees, extra tourniquet, more cordage, and some other odds and ends. I have my headlamp in here for right now. I would obviously pull that out and put that in my pocket when it gets dark or wear it. Balaclava, extra hat, things like that are in here. Just some odds and ends. Stuff that I would generally have to access more regularly than stuff on the inside of my pack besides food. Okay, so that's what I have in there. Okay, now we're going to open this up. Top flap. So on the inside here it says medical. I have more like hygiene stuff in here. I have extra water purification tablets aside from the Sawyer filter. Extra hygiene, some more bandages. I have a antimicrobial towel in there. Hygiene stuff, okay? So toothbrush, you know, toothpaste, all that stuff in this little pocket here. Main pouch. Main pouch. Okay, you look in there, you see there's still quite a bit of cargo left. I have an extra field knife, full-size field knife, stuffed in here. Right now there are, I think, 5 or 7 Mountain House freeze-dried meals and Alpine Air freeze-dried meals and stuff in here. Again, I don't have my secondary, like, snacks accessory stuff because I'm changing some of that out. You need to regularly change that stuff out if you're not going out and using it all the time in the bag, because, you know, nutrient bars and stuff will go bad. So you need to change those out, eat that stuff up, get rid of it, whatever, and put fresh stuff in there. So you know, supplement stuff. Okay. Camo net. Poncho, spare poncho. Down here, shelter, SJK satellite tarp. And then this big bag down here is full of extra clothing, okay, changes of clothing, and that's packed all the way down to the bottom in a waterproof bag. All this stuff is in waterproof bags, or it's just waterproof stuff. Okay, anything that isn't waterproof or isn't going to get damaged by moisture, okay, is fine. Everything else is in waterproof bags for the most part. You know, some of that hats and stuff, like, those aren't, but again, using those all the time and those dry out quick. That bag there, so I've got extra warming layers, like you saw in the video I just did for a hoodie, turning it into a pillow. So I have a hoodie in there, I have a wool commando sweater in there, And then I have 2 changes of uniforms, camouflage, 2 different kinds of camouflage, 2 changes of uniforms, and then a bunch of socks, skivvies, and some undershirts. Okay, so that's all in there. So I got all that stuff packed in there and all that in there, and there's still all this room in here. What do you think is going to go in here? More food, water, and ammunition. Okay, I don't have ammunition packed in here right now because I have it all staged in ammo cans where I can just grab a can or 2, stuff them in here, seal it, close it all up, and grab and go. Okay, so that's how I do things with that. So just ammo cans are just easier. You know, even if you have a bunch of preloaded magazines, put them in an ammo can, and then you just grab that can, throw it in the bag, along with all your other stuff, seal it up, get out and go, okay? Whatever it may be. So that's what I've got in this bag, in large. Again, I'll reiterate, transitional period. So there are some things that are not in here right now that are either put in different gear. It's getting changed out for seasonal change for equipment, to packing that stuff that packs smaller and lighter, like summer sleep system, things like that. It's getting changed out. Again, food that was stored in here for X amount of time, that food that is getting to the point where it needs to be eaten up and used up, gets changed out with new stuff. Again, water is not stored in here when it's just sitting here. I get all my water prepped on the day or in the minutes and hours, whatever, before I grab this and go. Okay, so that way it's as fresh as can be, and you've got water on you and all that stuff. Okay, so that's kind of the setup here with this stuff. So again, I have a lot of stuff. This is it's just a basic shelter system. I'm not using a tent. I'm using a good tarp, a good satellite tarp system, again, and I have an extra poncho, okay, and then I've got camo netting too. All that packs down real small, along with the non-winter sleep system. It all packs down very small, so that makes more room for other essential items. Again, it's going to be food, water, and ammunition. In the training and you know what else kind of application and situation. When it comes to camping and hiking and things like that, obviously some of these things I don't need to have in there. Are they good to have? Yeah, of course. But like a camo net, if I'm just doing general, camping and hiking and not doing any tactical training or being in an area that, I need to be more concealed and things like that, like obviously I don't need to pack that in there. It packs down small, but I don't need to pack that in there. Situation dictates for whatever it is. If it's a more casual kind of thing, obviously there's certain things that I don't need. Like I wouldn't necessarily need my binos either, although those are good to have. And I usually just leave those in there unless I take them to the range, in which case I put them in my range bag for the day, come back, put them back in this bag. So stuff like that. So situation dependent stuff, okay, the METTC and all that, but also again making sure that you have, for long-term, long-range, long-term stuff and long-term sustainment, that you have a pack that's going to be able to hold all of your essential equipment that you're going to need. Okay, and again, there are some redundancies in here. Stuff happens, things can get lost. Sometimes a guy in your team doesn't have one of those items, and then you can help them out and supplement, and other needs and things like that. Okay, so say maybe you end up rescuing someone out there, somebody is stranded and you find them and help them out, so then you have extra stuff for them too, whatever the situation may be. But having essential items and the right amount of items and things like that is going to be the most important. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of what to have in your long-term sustainment, or for longer excursions and outings and things like that. And again, in a non-tactical situation, things like, chem lights and all that, yeah, whatever, light them, crack a couple at night to have some extra light, apart from having a headlamp and making a fire if you can and things like that. So again, situational application for a lot of stuff, but at the same time, you see that a lot of the stuff I have is able to pack down real small and make space for the essential items that are the core of long-term sustainment. Hydration, water, water filtration means, food, means of getting food otherwise, and ammunition if you're going to have it in there for what you need. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, and just wanted to show you guys. This pack right now probably weighs, oh, I don't know, 25 pounds maybe 30 pounds. I don't know. It's reasonably light for everything that's in here, okay? And again, that weight is going to increase exponentially once you add water weight and ammunition and stuff. So, okay? Again, with ammunition, even if you have mags loaded and staged like I do, put them in an ammo can so it's easy. You just grab and go with that can, and you have, you know, exponential force multiplication and sustainment support for you and the people that you're with. At least you should be with some people. If you're going alone, you're going to have a hell of a time of it, but that's another topic for another discussion. So hopefully, again, this gives you some ideas. You don't have to go crazy with a tent per se, and between sleep system, ground pad, and just a decent quality shelter setup that's very basic, keeping it simple for sustainment, you're going to be good to go. And then the extra, you know, components that you are going to need or want for operational needs and things like that. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff here. Make sure you get your hygiene stuff, and that you're packing it wisely so that you maximize the space in your pack. And again, the nice thing about stuff with all this PALS or MOLLE, whatever you want to call it, all over the pack, take advantage of that and get more stuff on there, to the point where weight is not a negative effect on your performance and your activities and stuff out in the field. Okay, you do need to try and keep it as light as possible while still taking all of the things that you need to take with you. Okay, so oh, and then the other thing, of course, armor and helmet, putting them in the pack, if you know, putting them in the pack as well, you know, and then you can stage this, take a smaller bag with you or whatever, stage this and come back to it as you need it, kind of thing, for those kinds of operations. Camping and stuff, it's going to be with you all the time anyway. So the only other thing that I don't have on here, in that other pocket, I hope I said I had a tree saw, because I have a tree saw in that other pocket. One of the only other things I don't have on here, I don't have my hatchet on here right now, because that's usually lashed on the outside of the pack. I'm actually waiting on leather sheaths from Fortner's Frontier Leather. That is Modern Frontiersman's craftsman business, his leatherworking craftsman business. Make sure you go support him, okay? I have a couple of custom sheaths ordered for my field axes, my field hatchets, coming from him, and I'm looking forward to reviewing those as well. So that is normally lashed on the outside of my pack as well, apart from having a tree saw in the other outside pouch on this pack. Again, situation and environment. If you're living in the desert, you're really not going to need like a tree saw and stuff. I live in the the far north Midwest, so there are a lot of trees and a lot of brush. So yes, I need those things to help me build a shelter, but also for collecting firewood and things like that as well. So it's an essential tool to have that I do not have on here right now because I'm waiting on some sheaths. Again, transitional things, okay? I'm going to keep reiterating that. Things will change for you dynamically if you go through multiple seasons more substantially than in other regions of the country, or wherever you are. You know, the Deep South, obviously the winter is not nearly as bad as here, so you don't need a sleep system like this per se, but you do have a lot of rain and things like that, so, you know, things to take into account. You know, again, situational dictation stuff, and transitional application for your for what you're packing in your bag, and then for your application out in the field. So just cover all your bases. There's a lot to think about and a lot to go over. Hopefully, again, this gives everyone some ideas on some stuff that they can pack into their bag and how to distribute items and things like that. You saw how I have things packed in here and things like that. So hopefully that gives you some semblance of help in trying to determine some things for yourself. Again, this is a long-term sustainment bag. This is a large European Bergen style ruck. It holds a lot, and I've got a lot in it. Again, trying to keep it as light as possible without adding the other things that are going to get put in there in a last minute kind of thing. Staging things to a certain extent is obviously essential, but again, seasonal changes, situational things, there is going to be periods where you're going to need to tear all this down and repack it with the other stuff for different season and things like that, okay? So same with the food stuff, okay? Pay attention to expiration dates on food that isn't long-term food stuff and all that. Again, water will go stagnant and will taste awful in your hydration systems. So you got to make sure that you're changing the water out regularly or prepping it right before you step off. Things like that. Yeah, hopefully this gives people some ideas on things and helps them with certain things. And again, I got quite a bit in here, and it's worked out really well because I use all of it, especially in training and things like that. So, you know, all that stuff is used. So yeah, good stuff. Again, hopefully it helps everyone, and yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them. And again, Q&A post is up on my community tab of my channel. Go check out that thread. Leave a comment if you want. It will stay up for a couple more days. I usually leave it up for about a week and a half. And then, you know, I do the video, answer those questions, and that video in that post is deleted. Other than that, again, links will be in the description for a couple of other videos. And yeah, that should round it out. So thanks for tuning in. Again, hopefully this helps somebody, helps some people, and gives you an idea of what good things are to pack, you know. All right, that's it. Metal up. Out.